Hello everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create either 2 or 3 little artist trading cards from this book of backgrounds page. And the video link on how to create this page will be in the description. So this is basically phase 2 of the Bob and Doug project, where Bob is book of backgrounds and Doug is doing our unusual genre. So the Doug portion is where we create art on the backgrounds, or take the backgrounds and upcycle them to something else, or cut them up, which is what I'm doing. The challenge in this one, because I created the background on both sides, which is fine, because the way I'm going to cut this is 6x9. The way I'm going to cut this, I'm going to get 5 artist trading cards out of this. I'm going to do 3 of one style on this side, and then 2 of another style on this side. So on a 6x9, where am I? I'm going to, let's see. On a 6x9, you're going to get, where's my pointer here? You're going to get a cut at 2.5. Okay, so cutting down at 2.5, then you cut that at 3.5, and then from the 2.5, then from here it becomes 1, 2, 3.5. So it works out absolutely perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to cut this right here at 3.5. I'm cutting it slow. This is a little bit thicker because it's got the crackle on the back. So now that I cut so this is 6x9, cutting it at 3.5, taking that out, then cutting this at 3.5. Okay, and then cutting this at 3.5. Now, which part's the good part? This part. And this can be used for something else. So there's the 2. And these ones being cut at 2.5 because they're already 3.5 here. So 2.5. And what's really cool about this type of background is that the way it was done is that each piece will be random, but you can use it to still create a series. So I'll put that aside. I don't need it anymore. Now I have to decide which ones I want to use for this project. So the back ones are kind of boring. So I will choose, let's see, I will choose those 2 for one, and I will choose these ones because these lines go across. So I will choose these ones for the front. And I'm going to be using some crackle paste, and I'm going to be using some metallics and eyelets and little stones that I colored with alcohol ink. I did a webinar on this, on how to change the color of stones, because when you buy the stones, you can buy them like this, and there's no reason why to spend a fortune to find the perfect color. You can make it yourself. Okay, so put that aside. And the first thing I want to do is I want to stencil some interference paint because I'm going to put crackle on top. And I'm using the DecoArt Personally Yours Urban Ink Stencil. These are tattoo inspired stencils, that line. So I'm going to be just using numbers. And I've got the DecoArt Media Gold Interference. And I'm just going to use a small little brushes, just a little Taklon brush. And it doesn't really matter. You know, what numbers you put on there, but I'm going to line them more to the right because when I put the crackle on, I'm going to put the crackle on more to the left. I'm not going to be able to do the number 5 very well, so I'll just do the 1, 2, and the 6. And I'm just putting a very light coating. I'm not using my stencil brush for this. I just want to shimmer. It almost creates, you know, that went on, well, I don't know about American money, but on Canadian money, they've got a, almost looks like a hologram, and that's what it looks like. And I can choose let's see. I'll use 4. Oh, look what I just did. Look what I just did. Not big. This stuff is so hard to see. Let's see. And we'll just pick 4 and 8. You can put anything here that you want. It doesn't matter. This is just to create some interest in the background. It's very, very, there you go. See a little bit there. There we go. And I'm going to do one here. I did a video called the number painting, and I put a challenge out to it. I used the numbers 369 and asked people, why did I use 369? And nobody could figure it out. It's like one of those math things. Okay, 3, 6, and I'll put the 9 right here. All right, that brush and water, and I'm going to quickly clean these. You see where is the shine? There we go. There's 1. There's 2. And there's a 369. So the heavier this is, the more of a shine that it has. And I'm trying this new ink that Joe found for me. Memento Luxe for Mixed Media, Tuxedo Black. And it's made by I believe, the same people that make the StazOn. And I've got some random stencils here. So I don't even know if any of these are still being made. I have no idea. So this is distressed. It's like a distressed text stamp. Then this one here, I got in a clearance shop. So I've got that for the border. Doesn't matter. This is just for the background. And I'm just going to, this goes far, holy smokes. There we go. Just get something in there to break up the starkness. No smell. With the StazOn, there's a heavy smell on that. I'm just gonna quickly wipe this. And one of the reasons why Joe found this is I'm trying to make, I've got some burlap and I want to actually create a print on it. And this actually you can stamp with fabric. You just have to heat set it. All right. So put that aside. And put that aside. And this I'm going to do at the end. All right, let me just quickly dry this. Okay, and I'm going to take that stencil again. And you can do these any way you want. You don't have to follow these steps exactly step by step. And what I want to do is I want to take another letter or a number. You can just use one, and I'm going to be using Decor Crackle Paste. And I'm just going to crackle this through the stencil. Give that a little bit of a stir. And let's just pick, let's see, what number is this? This is 4 and 8. I'm not going to be able to line it up perfectly. I'll make sure that I move it more on this side. This will take a little bit of drying time. The heavier the application, the longer it will take to dry. You can also scrape it off with your palette knife. I'll put that aside. And this one is 1, 2, and 6. 1, 2, and 6. Move it over a bit. And move it over a lot. Right there. You don't even have to use crackle paste, you can use whatever you want. This is just for texture. I think the palette knife I chose is a little bit big and it just went right underneath the stencil. Did it? Oh, no, it's good. Okay. The other one's a bit more of a custom. And when I'm done all this, I'll be putting this into some water because this is already dried on the stencil. 369. So I'm going to move that over here. I'll put 3 here. Three. This is going to be tight because this is still wet. I just had the stencil go in the other piece. I'm trying not to get my hands in the way so you guys can see what the heck I'm doing. There we go. Yeah, the stencil cut into this one a bit, so that's fine. All right, these are going to be set to dry. I'm going to give them an hour, and then we'll come back. You see a little bit of cracking in there, and a little bit in there, and a little bit in there. What I like about this is that you should let them dry naturally. I used a heat gun for about 15 seconds, then I stopped, then I cleaned up a bit, came back, used the heat gun for another 10 seconds, and it just gets it going. Because right now it's like -10 outside, and it's a little bit chilly in the studio. I'm going to be using some misters, Decorate Media Shimmer Mister Violet, and then the regular misters, Primary Magenta and Red. I'm not going to spray them because it makes a mess, but I am going to just see what I can do. I'll do it this way. These do make a mess. These are permanent once they're dry, which I love. And I'm going to get a round brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water, and all I want to do is just stain the letters a little bit. And what I like about using the misters is that because they're semi-transparent, and when they dry, get that going. When they dry, they leave these little ridges of color, which is very similar to watercolors. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt them. There we go. So just getting all these little tilting things going, and I can take my mister bottle to get it going. Let me just might as well spray all of these, because it looks for other moisture. Otherwise, what I would have done was just take the bottle and just do it this way. When I'm using multiple colors, I don't like touching into another color than putting back into the bottle. That's just me. I like that. And if it's too bright for you, just add a little bit more water, and it really dilutes it. And you can just smush it around. All we're doing is just adding a little bit of color to cut down on that bright white. And let's go. This is primary magenta. Yeah, it's not enough. I need to use the bottle. And it also resists the paint a little bit. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna leave that one the way it is. It resists the paint a little bit, which I think is really neat. Okay, so there we go. So I'm just scribbling over it. And let me get back with the red. And what this also does is just cuts down the intensity of the orange. And that's just what I wanted. I didn't want that stark orange. And think of these colors that I'm using. They're opposite on the color wheel of the orange. So by nature, they're going to make each other pop. So once you've got whatever you want down on here, I'm going to leave that one the way it is. You can you can dry it with the heat gun to speed it up, or you can just let it dry naturally. Alrighty, so now I've got these nice and dry. Now what I want to do is I want to glue some stuff on there, and I've got some little printed quotes as well that I'm going to be putting on here. And I'm thinking, I didn't think properly when I was placing these numbers, because now I'm kind of stuck on where to put them when I actually put on the embellishments. So what I like to do is I like to do some type of dry fit, and I've got, this is a paper clip and a little thing for a screw, and I've got a little, I'm actually short on this. I don't like doing things in twos, so I can put a little stone there. These are all ones that I used alcohol ink in my webinar to color. And then the quote, I didn't really want to color the numbers, but there's no reason why you can't put the quotes on an angle. So I'm just doing a little bit of a dry fit here just to see where I want to put everything. Okay, this one I'm going to cut a bit. You can also do this. And I'm just going to narrow that down. There we go. Now I printed these quotes myself on my computer, and I used, oh boy, what font was it? I'd like to say I used a font called Mom's Typewriter, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And then you can put this basically wherever you want. Okay, so let's just, there. So life is about creating yourself. Creativity is a natural extension of our enthusiasm. That's a quote from Earl Nightingale. And this is creativity is intelligence having fun from Albert Einstein. And composition-wise, the key, I have the end part pointing this way. If you have it pointing this way, it kind of leads your eye out. Okay, so I'm thinking about something like that. And then I've got some Recollections Vintage Gold. This is like a cracked glass. I'm going to be putting some of that on there, and then some of the stones. To glue everything down, you can use a matte medium, anything clear. You can use gesso if you want, so it'll be a bit white. I'm going to be using Decor Media liquid glass because it's dimensional. So in saying that, I need to place my pieces. Now these have a little bit of adhesive on them, and I can turn around and put these wherever I want. And I've also got these little stones here, which I picked up at the dollar store in these little vials. This whole thing was $1.25, and they're colored, but the blue is a bit bright, so I took the white and I just colored them with the alcohol ink. And I could just put put some little stones right in here. And the reason why I'm kind of placing them now is because when I put the liquid glass on there, it's dimensional, so I don't want liquid glass everywhere. Put a little bit of the green stones. I also want some of these little orange stones here, which will contrast the green. And they're a little bit, they're not as strong as the white. Look how strong. Look how strong the white is. These also at the dollar store. And I used to kind of be against buying stuff at the dollar store because of the quality, but the stuff is getting so much better now. And come on. You're not gonna go. Okay, I'll just pick something else. Here, there we go. We'll leave it like that. The eyelets I'm going to use at the end. Oh, I like kind of how that looks with just being thrown on there. I like that. I don't quite have enough though. Let's take you off there. And I like the way that's placed. That's too perfect. So let's just take that off. There we go. So I'm thinking something like that. It's just about bling and having fun and just, you know, and then I'm going to take some of these and I'll put those around. So let's take these off. And I know for a fact that they're not going to look like that when I put them on. So why even bother worrying about it? The quotes I'll put on in the end. So I know what I need. So I have that for this one. And I'm also placing them because I don't want to glue every little single one by itself. You can, but I wanted to try with the liquid glass. Now this stuff here, the bottle is very, very tight. I also have one in here with a fine tip writer. Okay, for where I can do the individuals. I wonder if that's gonna open up. I think that's, there we go. So I'm just going to put some dots randomly where I'm thinking I'm going to put the stones. You see why the dry fit really didn't make any sense. All right, so let's put one here and we'll put the butterflies going there. That doesn't belong there. Let's put one there, one there. You could also just put the liquid glass right on here. Smush that around and then just put it on like that. That'll work too. And that's what we're going to be doing with the actual glass glitter. The liquid glass is completely transparent. Get off there. I don't like using my fingers for this because it gets really sticky. And the key is going here. And again, randomly placing them, but the planning is more around the embellishment. And this one here. I know this is tedious. These will stick really, really well. Do I have any more glue over there? I think I do. Oh, there goes the furnace. It would have been easier if I would have just put liquid glass everywhere, but I didn't want liquid glass everywhere. Get up there. And this one, let's put this this one here. All right. And let me just get a wipe. And I want to put the actual embellishment on now. And what I'm going to use, you could use the liquid glass as well. What I'm using as actual glue is decoupage matte, and I put it into a little squeeze bottle. And I'm going to be using that. This also dries clear. And that liquid glass is actually going to stay like that. Put something there. Okay. Where's the other one? And I'm putting a little bit more of the medium on there that's necessary, because the stuff that's around, I'm going to be putting the broken glass on there to stick to it. Side. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have touched that one. All right, cover this up. Now I'm going to get the fine tip writer, and you can do this. You don't have to. Wait for that to go down a bit. And let's just get that going there. So now I'm going to just put a little bit of this. Some spots. This is also going to be just doing a little bit of extra sealing. On some little areas. All right, like I said, this is a very tedious one because I'm using the stones. Stones are three-dimensional. So anything that's not quite stuck down, might want to just put a little bit of extra on there. Go. And I'm going to get the bigger bottle now. Yeah, this one's a little bit hard to... So now I want to put a little bit of broken glass there. Some broken glass there, broken glass there. So I'm putting where I want to put some of that broken glass. And I'm just going to put it on there. I'm not sprinkling it on there because I don't want a whole ton of this stuff. A measuring spoon would be better for this, I think. And this stuff is very, very, very textured. It's like little shards of glass. Yeah, I have to pick up a little micro spoon. And I'm not sprinkling it on there also because I don't want to cover up all the liquid glass. I want some of it to show through. There we go. so I'm just going to bring that up here. This can go right back in the bottle. And I just did a faux pas. I should have did this over a sheet of paper. That way I could just scooped it right back in there. In the other two ATCs, which will be another video, I'm going to be using micro beads, which is really cool. All right, and I want to color these now. Just want to color these a little bit. Let's see. What am I going to use to color these? I'm going to use some wax. This is Decor Metallic Luster Polished Coral. It's a metallic wax. And I'm not going to use that brush. I'm going to use a little stencil brush. I'm just going to do this on the edges. It's water soluble when it's wet, but when it's dry, you buff it and it becomes permanent. A little bit too much there. Just to get rid of the stark white. The type still shows through. Okay. And while I'm here, might as well, I'm going to use my bristle brush for this part. And I can do a little bit of, apply this on the edge. I'm thinking now this might be a bit too much. That's okay, I have a whole container of these quotes. We're going to be coloring the edges of these as well with burnt sienna. Yeah, that was too much. So let me, I've got my little skull jar here with a bunch of these. Ooh, the very last one. Vincent Van Gogh. Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Love that. Thinking it's a little long though. That. Creativity is contagious. Pass it on. Love that. Oh, there's the same font, the same quote. Life is about creating yourself. Okay, so I'm going to use those. And now, so I don't waste your time, I'm just going to cut them up into something smaller. And I'm going to clean up my table while all that stuff dries. And then when we come back, we'll just finish off the edges. So I cut all the little pieces and I'm using a Krylon metallic pen. It's a leafing pen using copper, and I'm just outlining the little pieces just to add a little bit of dimension. This way it's not, I like the white of the paper, but I just wanted a little bit of something extra on there. Okay, so I'm going to do these ones after. And now once all this is almost tacked up, so I can go ahead and glue the little pieces of paper on there, and then I'm going to let it sit to dry. And then once that's dry, we'll come in with burnt sienna and we're going to antique the edges, and then we're going to work on the back side. I'm going to put a label on there, ATC label, and then come in with an eyelet and just pop that in there. And you can use whatever you want to put this on there. You can glue it, you can use double-sided tape. I left my paper clip inside there, and it actually turned the decoupage medium a different color because the paper clip rusted. There we go, right there. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and color the other ones and then glue those down. Alright, so I've got the one here, and I'm going to be working on this one. I finished the other two. I just want to save some time now, and I'm going to just work on this one. So what I want to do is I'm going to take some burnt sienna. That's even too much. You can use ink for this part. I'm using some quinacridone burnt orange, and these are the DecoArt Media Fluid acrylics. And I'm going to take a little pouncer with the burnt sienna, and I'm going to cover the edges here, get rid of the white of the paper. And up to this point, everything that I've showed you, you can do this on any size art. You can do it on a canvas, you can do it on a larger scale. Everything I've shown you, it doesn't matter what size. But I did do something specifically for ATCs, which I'll cover in a sec. Okay, that's it. And you would do that with all the other ones, and that basically now don't need that paint anymore. That's why I said it's even too much. And off camera, I would just put this into a journal that I'm working on. And I've got a brown brush, and dip it in some water. And you can do this if you want. You don't have to do this, but I want to just knock down a little bit of this intensity of the numbers. And I'm just putting a little bit of a very, very light glaze. Glaze is a transparent layer over the numbers. And what's happening is that the paint is going into the cracks, which is making it a little bit more contrast. But at the same time, it's also dulling it down a little bit. Again, you don't have to do this. And if you want, I'm going to blot that a bit. I can turn around. Where's my shimmers? I can also apply a little bit to the actual card. It just makes it a little bit richer. Again, totally up to you. You don't have to do this. I'm doing this around the butterfly to add a little bit of shadow. And then right around here, I'll just touch that edge. And you can just even do it around the numbers if you want. You don't have to. Because this is transparent, I also won't lose all that interference. So when I turn it, when it's dry, I'll still be able to see the number. That's it for that. Again, you don't need a lot of paint because these paints are extremely powerful. I'm going to dry this just for a second with the heat gun. And I'm going to just do a stamp and just some random stamp. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is just one that I picked up at a clearance place. And I like these little dots. What I like about these little border stamps is that I don't have to have wide coverage. I can do some stamping after my embellishments are on there. And I found out that this pigment, I do need to heat set it. Okay, that's cute. And just to show you how strong this pigment is, just that little spot with the baby wipe. I mean, look at all that ink. So I'm going to be a little bit more choosy when I use this ink. There are some times when, depending on what I'm working on, I can't heat set a piece, depending on what's on it. Like some of the plastic elements on there, you can't really heat set. So I'm just going to take the heat gun And very quickly, just go over like this, and that's it. So I'll likely stick with my stays on from now on if I need to heat set something. All right, then for the ATC, the next thing I would have done is I want to add a label to it. Now I've already done this to save time. Okay, just a label. And what I've done is I just have a stamp like this. You don't need to do this. You can find so many printables on the internet of labels that are already done, or just handwrite it. So I took some rice paper and I printed it, and this is what happens when you have a light stamp, but this is usable. You can cut it, and you know, you can try to cut it to the edge. I always have trouble to do that. So what I like to do is I like to do the stamp, then use a fine brush. So I use a little brush like this, and then I wet the edge, and then I peeled the paper so it gave a nice deckled edge. The other way you can do it is to use a border ruler like this. This is one from Westcott, and this has a really nice border, and what you can do is just put it on and then just do a tear like that, and it gives you a really nice deckled edge like this. Just do it a little bit slower. Okay, and then I used let me get my stuff out of the way. Okay, and then I used a number 12 shader with decoupage matte, put it down, and then flattened it out, let it dry, and then I took some of that leftover quinacridone burnt orange and I did a very light glaze on top just to tone it, to get rid of the white of the paper. The last step, what I want to do is I want to put an eyelet in there. Again, this is all the same ones that all the embellishments here were silver, and I stained them with the alcohol ink from the webinar. And I'm going to take my punch and I put this one right here and put the eyelet. So other than this embellishment being stained with a rosy alcohol ink mixture and then the cracked glass, everything has a green tint, which is a nice contrast to the orange and the violet. And then crimp that, and voila, it's finished. So let me just get the other ones. So there we go. So although this project took, I think, about 40 minutes to do, it's because I did 3 and I was talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Realistically, if you have the cards ready and all your embellishments laid out, you could whip these off in 20 minutes, not including drying time. The drying time is, you know, the bugger. But with these, if you even have a large sheet and you have a whole bunch, you start on one, you do everything at the same time to make it like almost like a mass production, but you're still putting in your own individual creativity in each of the cards. Although they are definitely part of a series, they do look very, very different. Okay, so that's this one here. Now these two here, I put a lot more of the quinacridone burnt orange on the actual card, and you can see that I have a lot more of the alcohol splashes showing through here versus here. So just to show you, by using a bit of a translucent acrylic, even after the fact, really tones things down. Okay, so these are so cute. And although they will be probably, if I were to ship these, they'd be one level up for shipping because of the thick embellishments here. They don't fit into that letter. There's a little slot that for template I use to see what rate of shipping. You could put these into like a piece of cardboard, put them into a small envelope. If you write on the front card, they'll go through like a greeting card, because greeting cards are thicker, so you should not have any trouble shipping stuff like this. And usually if you say card, maybe they'll take a bit more care in shipping them. Okay, so all sealed on the edges. And you can see this one here, I did it a little bit differently. Okay, So there you go. So I really hope that you enjoyed this. And if you like artist trading cards, first of all, give me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and share in the comments below some of your favorite artist trading cards that you've done. And at the same time, visit artplace.ca, where I have monthly artist trading card swaps, and it's a lot of fun because some of the really interesting topics I've chosen: fortune cookies, travel journal where we made a trading card which actually was part of a folded sheet, and the one that's up now is called Vintage Christmas. So depending on when you're seeing this video, that'll may likely be past, but doesn't matter when you're seeing this video, there's going to be a swap going on. Also, if you'd like to share this photo, you can email it to me or share it in my private Facebook group at artplace.ca. There's a link there to the group, and I would love to see you in there. All right, so I'm going to clean up and I'm going to work on the next project, which is the one that was on the back side of this. And with this particular project, the embellishments are going to be made of cardboard. So until I see you in that video, stay inspired.